It is probably not this one. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hutchinson City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. We'll call the meeting to order. Approve any council agenda or any agenda additions or corrections.
Mayor, Council, I don't have any additions or corrections for you.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mary, second by Pat to approve the agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Invocation River of Hope Church. Alrighty, we'll just observe a moment of silence. Next is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition of gifts, donations, and community service to the city. Does anybody have anything? Just want to congratulate the Rosbergs for having the stadium named after them. Had quite the run so far, and hopefully they'll keep it going.
Great.
Public comment, citizens addressing the council, just please come forward, state your name and address, and limit it to 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, respected council members. My name is Anthony Sellner. I'm at 1359 Westwood Road Northwest in Hutchinson. My wife and I moved to the community 2 years ago. I work as the county highway engineer in Redwood County and as a commander for the United States Navy Civil Engineer Corps and as a reserve capacity. So I'll bring good news tonight. Last night, shortly after 3 a.m., my wife and I had our security light inside our garage turn on inadvertently. It alerted us, and we called dispatch, and within minutes the police department had showed up, and my wife and I were very impressed by the professionalism and the maturity of the responding police officers. That goes to a testament, from what I could tell, to the culture of excellence that is ingrained in that department. So it makes us proud to be a part of this community, and we feel safe to raise our family here. So thank you very much for having that culture.
Well, you're lucky Chief Gifferson's right in the back there, so.
Right back there.
You're responding officer, so thank you very much.
So,
Thank you.
That's refreshing to know.
yeah,
Thank
you.
Yes. Anybody else?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Ryan Hench. I live in Brownton, Minnesota, P.O. Box 401, and I'm hoping to address you today as the candidate for the next McLeod County Attorney. I'm born and raised in McLeod County. I grew up on a farm between Brownton and Stewart, graduated from McLeod West High School. I'm currently the Criminal Division Chief in Blue Earth County, so I manage the Criminal Division for the Blue Earth County Attorney's Office in Mankato. I've been a prosecutor my entire career. Prior to coming to Mankato, and I've been there for about the past 9 years. I also served as a prosecutor in Redwood County, in Redwood Falls, and in Winona County, in Winona, Minnesota. Public service is important to me. I'm a volunteer firefighter and first responder on the Brownton Fire Department. I'm on the McLeod County, or the McLeod Emergency Food Shelf Board of Directors, and I'm also on the Brownton Baseball Association. Family is important to me. I have 3 young daughters. My oldest attends GSL. She's 8 years old. I also have a 3-year-old and a 13-week-old baby at home, so it's been a hectic summer to say the least. But I very much care about the world they're going to grow up in and the safety of the communities that they're going to be in. They deserve to feel safe in their homes. All of our residents do. They deserve to feel safe in school. As county attorney, priority 1 should be public safety. I've made that my priority. That's why I've moved up the ranks and am currently the criminal division chief in Mankato. But there's other facets of the county attorney's office, and they're important as well. During my time in Blue Earth County, Redwood County, and Winona County, I've had the opportunity to work in those various size counties with communities of every size and in the different areas of the county attorney's office. That includes advising the county board, partnering with our cities in the various counties. Those partnerships are important, and any various number of other civil-related issues as far as drainage law, economic development, and the like. This election poses an opportunity for the first time in a long time for a change in leadership in the McLeod County Attorney's Office. Mr. Young, the outgoing county attorney, has been in the office over 30 years, and I think there's room for fresh perspective, fresh ideas, and I've had an opportunity, as in my current role, to not only develop but also implement programs and initiatives that are aimed at community safety. Those include programs partnering with our schools as far as truancy intervention and priority prosecution for offenses that occur on school property, and any other number of programs I'd be happy to speak to when time allows. So I appreciate your time and your attention this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any. Otherwise, I look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, moving on. Approval of minutes. We have the regular meeting minutes of September 13th, and we have the workshop minutes of September 13th, 2022.
Motion to approve regular meeting and workshop meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Motion by Pat, second by Chad. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent agenda. This will be done by one motion unless somebody pulls something off for discussion. A is approval of issuing short-term gambling license to the Crow River Cutters on December 10th, 2022 at the Elks Lodge, and on February 11th, 2023 at the McLeod County Fairgrounds. B is approval of catering permit to the River House Kitchen and Drinks LLP. C is approval of resolution number 15494, resolution adopting finding of facts and reason for approval of conditional use permit and site plan review for a car wash facility located at 1490 Montreal Street Southeast with favorable Planning Commission recommendation. D is approval of purchase of street replay application. E is approval of setting public hearing for October 11, 2022 to consideration of city stormwater ordinance revision. And F is claims appropriation contract payments. Is there anything that anybody wants pulled off?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Chad, second by Mary to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Public hearing. Communication requests and petitions. Unfinished business, we don't have any. New business. First reading of ordinance number 22-831, ordinance amending chapter 54, stormwater management of the Hutchinson City Code, adding language in the section 54.03. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. Before you tonight, we just, through the consent agenda, we set the public hearing for our public hearing for October 11th for this very ordinance as well. What we're asking for tonight is to conduct the first reading, and then we'll consider comments at the next City Council meeting. If we have any comments at that time, we certainly have time to delay that second reading till the following until we can address those comments if we receive any. What we're talking about tonight for an ordinance change is relative to chloride specifically. The city went through an MS4 permit reissuance last year. Within 12 months of the reissuance, we have to implement certain measures that aren't already in place. One of those being is chloride requirements, specifically related to chloride use on commercial large parking lots, commercial applicators as well. And really what the requirements are asking is that if you store any salt on your parking lots for de-icing in the wintertime, that storage either occurs under a roof or it occurs underneath a covered pile where that's impermeable so that it doesn't receive contact with rainwater or melt water, those types of things. Ultimately, the point is to reduce or eliminate chloride discharges from storage of salt. For example, at Hats, we have a giant 3-sided storage facility that not only houses the salt, but also houses the sand and the mixture of the two. We have that underneath that cover specifically for that same reason, so that rain doesn't fall on it, so snow doesn't fall on it, and then that leachate leaches out into our local water bodies. Pretty straightforward, simple ordinance revision that we're looking at here. If you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, we're looking to have our public hearing and the second reading at the next City Council meeting and the first meeting in October.
And I guess for mayor and council and even for the public, this is always a good time to, I think, to acknowledge what MS4 is. As a city the size of we are, with the water body that goes through our city, there's certain permit requirements that we need to meet. And that's what that MS4 is for, of which this ordinance has to deal with. I usually like to highlight that because every now and then we'll hear, especially from builders or developers, is, well, I don't have to do this or that in this other city. And sometimes it's related to the fact that we're an MS4 city. And so that's just always a good reminder to note that when this comes up. So.
Yep, similar to this too, the ordinance that we're looking at, specific chloride. Another new requirement was specifically about pet waste as well, but the city already has ordinance language in place that meets the requirements of that new MS4 requirement, which prohibits people from allowing their pet to defecate out on a trail and leave it within a public right-of-way or in a public park. Certainly we know that happens. But if we know about it and we see it happen, city staff engages with those people and say, hey, please don't do that, or please pick up after your pet. Or I'm sure it happens too with other dog owners that are walking their pets and they see that happen. They don't want to mess either. So unfortunately, like I said, that one we're already meeting, but this one we did not have any specific language regarding chlorides in our ordinance. So that's why we're looking to make this revision. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
We should have a motion to accept the first
Motion
reading.
to approve the first reading of the ordinance 22-831.
I will second it.
Motion by Pat, second by Chad to approve the first reading. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, ordinance number 22-832, ordinance amending section 154.142E and F of the Hutchinson City Code regarding sign permitting in the Main Street area district in downtown designated design review.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Council. The planning director, Dan Jochum, was unfortunately a little under the weather, so I'm going to be filling in for him. I'll apologize for that right now. I know you expect a lot more from him than me, but as mentioned, the first ordinance that you're going to be considering tonight is for possible revisions to our downtown sign ordinance, and along with that, the possible elimination of the downtown sign review committee. Our ordinance currently has a requirement that all signs in our downtown area have to be reviewed by a downtown sign review committee. Unfortunately, no city staff ever remembers that committee actually existing. We searched our records back to 2002. We were unable to find any composition for that committee. Obviously, no signs since that time have gone through that review process from that committee. So, in an effort to perhaps have a little less government in the city, it's being proposed that that portion of the ordinance be eliminated, and there would be no longer a downtown sign review committee. The second part of this proposed ordinance revision deals with murals in the downtown district. The city council probably recalls the last couple of years we've been approached by people that have actually gone through the conditional use permit process to obtain a permit to construct a mural or paint a mural on their building in the downtown area. The city's been contacted by other people wishing to do the same thing. City staff, in looking at the issue, has felt that the conditional use permit process really isn't a proper net mechanism to have building owners go through in order to have a mural constructed on their property. And in fact, recent United States Supreme Court decisions have indicated that non-commercial speech really can't be regulated by a community. It's a little bit different if a mural would have advertising on it or some other type of commercial speech. But as far as a pure artwork mural goes, it's really not the city's place to be regulating the content of that mural. So those are the two proposed changes for that ordinance. It's the first reading of the ordinance. The Planning Commission recommended unanimously that the changes be made, and I'm also recommending that you vote favorably for this first reading.
Does that, so, like if you're doing a sign, they have to apply for the permit, which has a fee. Will that hold true for the mural also?
So it will if that mural contains advertising language. And I'm glad you brought it up. I should have clarified that as part of my presentation. So, right, if a person is going to be having a mural constructed on their downtown building and it contains advertising for their business or some other type of commercial speech, that would be considered a sign and a fee would be required.
But if it's just artwork, that fee would not be required.
Correct, and that's not subject to the downtown sign ordinance at all.
Thank you.
But it needs to go through the arts for approval?
Correct. We do, as you probably all are aware, we have an arts committee here in the community as part of the city, and they do have control over, I shouldn't say control, they have input on public art in the community. So a mural would still have to go through that committee for their review process.
It's a good idea. I mean, it covers all the bases. I think it's a good ordinance. Saying that,
I was going to motion.
saying that, I will approve ordinance number 22-832.
Second?
Motion by Mary, second by Pat. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Mark.
He's doing number 10 as well.
Yeah, I know. I got
Yeah.
He's waiting patiently.
10 and 11, so.
Okay. Ordinance number 22-833, ordinance amending section 154.064 E and 2 and 154.67 E and 2 of the Hutchinson City Code regarding minimum lot size.
Thank you once again, Mayor and Council. This was another item that the Planning Commission considered at its last meeting. And actually, it came up 2 meetings ago with the Planning Commission and was talked about at the City Council meeting back in August, the second meeting. Ian McDonald, as part of his lot development process for that corner lot across Michigan Street from Casey's, brought up the fact that maybe some of our dimensions for our lot sizes in our I-1 district and C4 district aren't necessarily conducive to development because they require, their dimensions are too large to maybe facilitate development. So what was proposed at the planning commission meeting was the change for this lot depth and lot width for the I-1 district, light industrial, and also the reduction of the lot width requirement for the C4 fringe commercial district. Again, to make lots that are still available for development town a little bit easier to develop, hopefully to reduce some of the infrastructure costs and site development costs. Again, the planning commission felt it was a good idea to facilitate development. They voted unanimously to approve the reductions in these lot dimensions at their last meeting. And again, I would ask that you do the same. This is the first reading of this ordinance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Dan to approve first reading, or, no, this is
That's the first reading.
the first reading. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. First reading of ordinance number 22-834, ordinance to rezone property located at 490 Highway 7 East to I-1 Light Commercial as requested by Wildflower Properties LLC, property owner with favorable planning commission recommendation.
Thank you again, council and mayor. Before you tonight is a rezoning request from Wildflower Properties, Ian McDonald. Again, 2 meetings ago, you had approved the lot split for this lot. This is on the corner of Highway 7 and Michigan Street. Casey's is over here. The current building on the premises is the Cars on Patrol shop. 2 meetings ago, you approved the lot split that basically split this lot in half. And this new additional southern lot is this rectangle here labeled A. The planning commission at its last meeting considered the rezoning of this parcel. This whole parcel right now as it is C4 fringe commercial. The proposed use for this new southerly lot is for warehousing, and warehousing is an approved use in the I-1 district, which is the reason for the request that it be rezoned to I-1. In addition, the I-1 zone extends to this property that's south of this new southerly lot, which makes it consistent in zoning with regard to that. But in order to facilitate the development of this, the proper zoning is I-1, which is why the request is being made. Again, the planning commission at its last meeting voted unanimously to approve the rezoning. All rezoning requests have to come before you, the city council. That's why it's before you tonight. It is the first reading. Again, I would ask that you adopt it so that the development can be facilitated.
So Mark, the lot to the south is I-1 already?
Correct. There was one person that came to the planning commission meeting, spoke about the rezoning, had some questions about drainage on the southerly portion of this lot, also about setbacks and some soil borings that were being taken on the property. All of those questions were answered to that person's satisfaction. I don't see him here this evening. But again, the planning commission took those questions into consideration and did unanimously approve the request.
I think John, there is a catch basin out in the middle of there, isn't there, or is that?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's further to the south.
yeah,
Well, there is a projected street that would run east and west through there, which is right on the south side of that property line.
Yeah, there is an easement right here, a 60-foot wide easement in this area. There's also, it's not on this map, but between what I call these townhomes here and the cars on patrol. There's also a driveway easement from that area as well. Unfortunately, I don't have a diagram showing that. I apologize for that.
Well, I'll approve the first reading.
Second it, go ahead, you got it.
Motion by Chad, second by Pat to approve first reading. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Resolution number 15491 approving the 2023 HRA preliminary tax levy.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So tonight we're going to have a series of preliminary tax levies that you will consider and then approve, and then ultimately those levies are reported to the county, and then the county uses that data for the estimated tax statements that are mailed out to the property owners, I believe, in November. So bear with me, I need to get to the top of my presentation. So starting with the EDA, the EDA and HRA both have maximum levies set by state statute, and those levy amounts are determined by a percentage of the city's estimated market values. So for
this is HRA, right?
the HRA, right? Yep, HRA is the first one.
You had said EDA.
Oh, I'm sorry, HRA. So starting with the HRA, the maximum levy amount per state statute is $263,437. The EDA board, the HRA board, however, is requesting $160,000, quite a bit lower than their prior levy, and that is due to some staffing changes or retirement within the HRA. Just wanted to show you how their levy has been over the last several years. The top blue line is the maximum levy allowed per state statute, and the bar graph portion in green is the actual levy the HRA has requested over those years. So you can see in the early years, kind of in that recession, they were below the maximum. And then about 2014 through 2020, they were right about at that maximum levy amount. Now they're falling back below the maximum. So the levy they're requesting, $160,000, supports basically, I believe, their operations that are out of city center here, not the Park Towers operation. So this is what the HRA board has requested, and that's what we ask for you to approve tonight for their preliminary levy.
Motion to approve 15491.
I'll second.
Motion by Pat, second by Chad. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 15492 approving the 2023 EDA preliminary tax levy.
All right, so this time we have the EDA, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but as a reminder, the final levies that you approve in December can be lower than what you're setting tonight, but they just can't be higher. So just wanted to remind you of that fact. But with the EDA, we have two options in front of you tonight. We spoke of these two options at the budget workshop, the prior meeting. And the first option here is the original request submitted by the EDA for $239,819 for their levy, and that would support their base operations. The maximum levy amount per state statute is $258,169. And as we discussed at that budget workshop 2 weeks ago, the EDA, if they were granted the maximum levy amount, the full $258,000, they would use those additional proceeds or resources to advertise and market the Hutchinson jobs. There's about 8,000 county residents roughly that are commuting to the metro area. So they want to target those people and see if we can find jobs here in Hutchinson and help our local employers out. So that's going to be a major initiative that the EDA is gonna be working on with area businesses. So that's where those additional funds would be dedicated if you chose to grant that higher maximum levy amount. So at this point, I'll just open it up for conversation or questions regarding the two levy options, or if you have another levy that you would propose, we can do that as well.
I'll make a motion to approve this as presented.
I will second it.
I guess for point of clarification, is that option 1 or 2? So,
The max, yeah.
option 2.
2.
Motion by Chad, second by Mary to approve option 2 of the 2023 EDA preliminary tax levy. Any other discussion?
Is this, Andy, one of the things that could be scaled back?
Definitely, yeah. As I mentioned earlier, we can always lower the levy, we just can't increase it. So, going into the preliminary, being a little conservative isn't necessarily a bad thing. I should have showed this graph as well. I had one for the HRA. This just shows the EDA has always been right at that maximum amount, other than last year.
Any other questions? Call a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 15493, approving the 2023 general fund and debt service preliminary tax levies.
All right, with this levy, we have a couple different components. We have the city's general fund, which is looking at a levy amount of $5,985,777. Then also within that general fund, we have the tax abatement subsidy for Uponor at $30,000. And then our outstanding debt to finance all our roadway improvements and to finance the new police facility, we're looking for a debt levy of $2,409,577. So that brings our total city levy to $8,425,354. And I just kind of wanted to show you, hopefully this makes some sense, but this is just a budgetary change in our 2023 budget compared to 2022. Our expenditures are up about $540,000. And we found some additional revenue of about $130,000, which leaves a gap of $410,221 that needs to be funded by the tax levy. And the expenditures down below that kind of make up, I guess, the need for that tax levy increase, with the most notable being wages and benefits, $302,000 increase, or 5.4%. And then we're seeing inflationary increases as well in our fuel and various supplies categories, software licensing, utilities. So some larger than normal increases in our budgetary expenditures, and that's what's going into this tax levy increase that we're showing you tonight. Here's what our city tax levy has done over the last several years. The total levy is the red line at the top. The blue bar at the bottom, that's our general fund. You can see we kept that general fund fairly flat for 5 years in a row with no increases. And then we had some minor increases to our debt levy as part of our debt management plan to get to our $2.2 million debt level. But then at that point, we kept the debt levy flat for about 6 years, and now we're starting to see an increase in that debt levy as well. But at the bottom, you can see over the course of this, even though we've had some fairly large increases over the last couple of years, our general fund levy has averaged about 2.6% per year increase over the look of this analysis. And our debt levy has increased 2.5%, while the total city tax levy has increased 2.6%. And then we always like to look at our impact from the taxes. With our 5.9% overall city tax over here, we're going to be looking at the far right column. That's what we're presenting tonight. We're still going to see a fairly good reduction in our tax rate, and that's because our tax base is increasing at a much higher rate than our tax levy. Tax base is increasing at 16.7% versus our levy of 5.9%. So we'll see a pretty good decrease in our tax rate. Then if we look at the bottom, with our median home value of $230,000, if the $230,000 value saw an increase from $200,000 from last year, that would be about an 18.1% increase on their taxable value, which would result in an additional $79 in city taxes only, just city taxes. That would be additional $79 from what they paid in 2022. And here's a look at our preliminary debt levy, and I just want to preface that this is a very fluid plan. This includes the newest debt we've added for 2020 through 2022 with the roadway projects and the police facility. But as new debt's added each year, it can depend on the level of debt we issue, the interest rates and whatnot, and that can have an impact on how this levy, proceeds. But you can see we were at our prior 2.2 target, 2.2 million, and we're slowly going to increase that debt levy until we level off at about 3,080,000. And at that point, it should be somewhat self-sustaining as debt issues fall off, or as we issue more debt, old debt will fall off. So we should be able to maintain that 3 million in that range, unless we start seeing some increases in construction costs. But wanted to show you back in 19. It's following a similar pattern to what we projected back in 19, although it's a little less dollar amount because it doesn't have the police facility. But we were projecting an increase starting in 2023 to get up to roughly a new debt target of 2.6 million. So we were already having built-in increases into our debt plan, just not as large of increases that the PD has brought about with their new building. And since you approved option number 2, the maximum levy for the EDA, this is what we would be looking at. Our total general fund with the tax abatement portion increasing by 7.3%. Our debt levy increasing by 2.6%, and our total city tax levy 5.9% increase. And we have our EDA levy increasing 18.2%, while our HRA levy decreases 23.1%, giving us a total tax impact of 5.5%. So that'll be what is communicated to the county, pending your approval on the general fund and debt funds. So at this time, I'll open it up for any comments, questions.
When you were, the wages and benefits, and I know there had been some mention about going back to self-insure. Is that something that would save us some dollars next year? Or you really don't know yet, or?
Potentially. I think we're going to hear from our insurance broker tomorrow, on how the market reacted to our coverage, I guess, and hopefully that's positive. But I believe we'll take a serious look at self-insurance, or even partial self-insurance, to see how that would impact our budgets.
Any other questions for Andy? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution 15493.
I'll second that.
Motion by Pat, second by Chad to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Resetting November 8th, 2022 City Council meeting.
Yes, Mayor and Council, November 8th is the general election day, and state law does not allow public meetings to take place between 6 and 8 p.m. that day. Because of that, we're in need of looking to reschedule. Historically, we've generally just moved that up to 4 o'clock. And so you can either pick a different day, or otherwise, I guess the general recommendation would be to set it for 4 p.m. on November 8th.
I will set that if everybody is agreeable to
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock on November 8th.
Motion to approve resetting meeting for 4 o'clock, November 8th.
I'll second it. Motion by Pat, second by myself. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Setting special meeting to canvass election results.
Obviously with November 8th election, we'll have to have a special meeting to canvass those results. It looks like we can probably do it anytime after 10 a.m. on November 14th. I think staff's recommendation is that we look to have it anytime after 1 on Monday, November 14th. So I guess whatever would work best for, or really anytime on Tuesday. So,
You know, I got to canvass the county and I just can't remember what day that was now.
November 14th.
It's the 14th.
That's it,
Okay,
yeah. So,
thank you.
so it's whether or not you want to have double duties that day.
That's fine.
So,
Get it over with. As long as they,
and we can do it after the county canvasses.
No earlier than 1 o'clock.
No, okay,
That's what they told us.
sure.
Tuesday morning, are we talking then, or did you say Monday?
Well, you could either do it no earlier than 1 on Monday, otherwise anytime on Tuesday.
Tuesday morning at like 9 work.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Does that work for you?
I would make that a motion.
I'll second.
by Chad, second by Mary to set the canvassing election results meeting for Tuesday at 9.
15th, right? 15th.
Yep, November 15th.
Yeah.
They say 15th?
Tuesday, November 15th at 9 in the morning.
Did you set that? I'm sorry, I was writing, who made the motion?
I did.
Chad?
Yeah.
And Pat, you seconded?
Aaron?
Mary did.
Mary did?
I did.
All right.
Very good.
But that's okay, don't worry.
And you wonder why I get accused of not paying attention.
No, we don't wonder.
Motion by Chad, second by Mary to set the canvassing meeting. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Setting truth and taxation hearing for December 6th, 2022 at 6 p.m.
Yes, Mayor and Council, obviously with setting the preliminary tax levies tonight, one of the other requirements for us, for the public, is to actually set a public hearing at where those tax levies and the budget will be discussed. And so we normally do that first week in December, usually anytime, either it's a Tuesday or Thursday, and I guess staff's recommendation is to look at doing it Tuesday, December 6th at 6 p.m. That's the earliest that you can set it, or at least during the, I should say, during the time of day. So you can't do it any earlier than 6 p.m. So
I'll make a motion to approve that meeting at December 6th at 6.
Second.
Motion by Mary, second by Pat to set the truth and taxation hearing for December 6th at 6 p.m. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have governance, we have City of Hutchinson financial reports and investment reports for August 2022. The library board minutes from July 25th, 2022. The Public Arts Commission minutes from August 10th, 2022. The Hutchinson Housing and Redevelopment Authority board minutes from August 16th, 2022. Planning Commission minutes from August 16th, 2022. I see that we have some students in the audience. Anybody want to address the council? Any questions?
I thought they were supposed to.
it's just when my daughter has to show up.
All right, Chief Gifferson, do you have anything for us tonight?
Not today.
All right, thank you. John?
I spoke with the contractor today. The patch on School Road is planning to go back in on Thursday. So there'll be a short road closure while that work's being done. And then just a reminder to take a look at the city's webpage for the schedule. The schedule's available for the leaf vacuum service. The residential leaf vacuum service starts October 11th. That's a Tuesday for the Monday garbage the day before. So that's when that starts. We got all the equipment here and ready to go. And so we'll look forward to that in a few weeks' time. So.
Yeah, I've already seen a couple properties starting to pile leaves at the curb, and I'm thinking it's still a couple weeks.
Still a couple weeks before you can put it on the road. So.
A little update on the airport.
I was out there today with the engineer, and the foundation is in for the Civil Air Patrol hangar. They were actually pouring the concrete apron in front of the hangar. The taxiway, which will be bituminous pavement, that's all graded, ready to go. And the majority of the driveway and parking lot are in and graded and ready to be paved as well. So they've got a little bit more concrete work to do for a curb and gutter, and then also to finish up, they're actually doing a heated pad in front of the hangar itself. They'll have in-ground Hoopnor pipe in there and keep that heated so don't have any ice coming in at the doorway. So that's all proposed to be done yet in October, and then the building itself is looking like very early November delivery, and they can begin construction on the building. It's basically a steel frame hangar, so as long as they have a foundation in the ground and bolts sticking out of the ground, they're good to go. So looking very good. The site looks great. We're roughly close to 5,000 cubic yards of topsoil was able to be put down in the field to the north, and that will result in a credit to the Civil Air Patrol, which will allow them to do a couple of things that were on their nice to-do list. So that's good to hear as well. So.
Did the Alice Chalmers people break ground out there too?
Yes, they did.
They did. Okay. Well, officially,
they had a groundbreaking ceremony.
I actually saw lumber there today. I didn't see any bodies whipping around. But
I don't know if they've. Looks like the area's been prepped for construction.
Correct. Yeah. For sure, the pad's graded off and marked, and I did see, like I said, material show up on site. So. Mm-hmm.
Anything else for John?
Nope, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Chief, you don't want to say anything about your new police station? It's coming along good, it looks like.
There to answer any questions if you guys got some.
Have they been sheetrocking and stuff too already, or not? Or kind of
Yes.
try to look through there, but
Drywall has begun. The window company has started putting in some of the curtain walls. I don't know if there's panes in them yet, but they've begun doing that. And if you drive by there, you'll see that there's plastic over the windows now, because those are the areas that have been drywalled.
The grading looks good. I mean,
It's coming along. I think they'll be out there not this week, but the following week, and they'll finish with the second lift for the asphalt.
all right, thank you.
You bet.
Good.
Mr. Sabora.
Nothing else tonight?
Yeah, let's start with you.
this last weekend, the gun show was in Hutch, and they also had a craft show out there, and they actually had some dog event out at the fairgrounds, so all kinds of stuff going out there, big crowds in town. So kudos to the people that do that, because it really brings in a lot of traffic to the city and a lot of revenue, I think. That's it.
That's it? Chad?
I did everything extra tonight.
All right, Mary?
Well, at our last meeting, it was before the Arts and Crafts Fair, so I think it was very successful. There was a lot of people. The only complaint I heard is too many bees.
Yeah, there were a lot. They're everywhere though.
Yeah.
I think they are everywhere. Along with that, I wanted to thank the Alice Chambers Orange Spectacular group. We had Hutchinson's downtown character tour this last weekend, and their generosity for our group is really good. They let us use their people movers so we can move people around the city to actually get to downtown. And instead of going to the cemetery, we can move around town now. So I want to give a little shout out to that group that helped us out. The weather was perfect and we were sold out and it was a good day. And that's it.
Thanks, Mary. Dave?
Well, first I'll apologize to everyone for being late and thank Pat for the reminder. I had not much more than 5 minutes before that, looked at the clock and I said, I got an hour left yet. So I didn't have an hour, but I apologize to everybody for being
Tell
late.
Jan that she's supposed to set it ahead, not behind.
Well, anyway, it was just oversight if anything, but yeah, I don't have anything. Weather's been nice except for Friday and Thursday, why it was rather cold. The Lions were out at the brewery and we just about froze to death, but we recovered, and that was a nice group out there on Saturday. And you talked about bringing people to town. I believe I counted 12 people that I talked to were from all out of town at the Oktoberfest at the brewery. And some had friends here, some had whatever the case is, but had come to the Oktoberfest ever since they started. So it's good to see, you want to call them strangers in town by all means, and willing to talk about it. So that was good.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Matt?
A couple things, early voting has started, and so you can do that here at City Center. Fall cleanup is this Saturday, and so just a reminder, that's 2 items, whether it's hard good or appliances or white goods, whatever, that's this Saturday. And I would say have it out, usually they start, right away, 6 in the morning, so I would say set it out Friday night. And then if you haven't been, those of you that are running for office, if you haven't been contacted yet, I know there's going to be a candidate forum on October 12th here in the council chambers. So, otherwise, that's it for me.
Well, Mary, I think the black flies have replaced the bees. My gosh, I left the windows open on my pickup
You
today.
can't do that.
That's a no.
Got in, they were buzzing around, so. Anyway, let's go home.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. 2 seconds.
Second.
Chad, second by Pat to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.